Daniel was good at solving problems. That was his thing. At work, people brought him the impossible ones, the broken contracts, the angry clients, the projects that had quietly been falling apart for months. He'd sit down, think it through, and fix it. Clean, efficient, done. He brought the same approach home. That was his first mistake. It started small. Sarah would come home from work, drop her bag by the door, and start talking. About her colleague who took credit for her idea. About the commute. About the way her mother had called twice that day about nothing and everything at the same time. Daniel would listen for about 90 seconds, identify the core problem, and offer a solution. Tell your manager directly. Leave 20 minutes earlier. Just don't pick up. Sarah would go quiet. Not the good kind of quiet, the kind that had a temperature. He never understood why she was upset. He'd helped, hadn't he? He'd fixed it. Case closed. Except nothing was closed. The distance between them grew by a few inches every week. Not dramatically, no shouting, no ultimatums. Just a slow, steady cooling. She stopped telling him things. He stopped noticing she'd stopped. One evening, he came home to find her sitting at the kitchen table, not doing anything, just sitting. He asked what was wrong. Nothing, she said. He went to watch television. The turning point came from an unlikely place. His friend Marcus, married 15 years, who had the kind of easy, warm marriage Daniel quietly envied. They were having coffee one Saturday morning, and Daniel, in a rare moment of honesty, said, "I don't understand Sarah sometimes. I try to help, and it makes things worse." Marcus looked at him for a long moment. "When she talks to you," Marcus said, "are you listening to understand her or listening to fix her?" Daniel opened his mouth, closed it. "Because those are two completely different things," Marcus continued. "And she can feel the difference, every single time, free." Daniel thought about that for days. He started paying attention. Really paying attention not to what Sarah said, but to what she seemed to need when she said it. And he noticed something that embarrassed him with its simplicity. Most of the time, she didn't want a solution. She wanted to feel heard. She wanted someone to sit in the difficulty with her for a moment, not immediately hand her a ladder out of it. She wanted to know that her feelings made sense to someone who loved her, not that her feelings were a problem to be efficiently resolved. So he tried something new. He stopped talking. When she came home frustrated, he didn't reach for a solution. He just looked at her and said, "That sounds exhausting. Tell me more." And then he actually listened, not waiting for his turn, not scanning for the fixable part, just listening. The change in her face was immediate and a little heartbreaking, like a door he hadn't known was closed had quietly swung open. He also learned slowly, imperfectly, a few other things. That she didn't need to be managed. She needed to be respected. There's a difference between a man who helps his wife and a man who handles her, and she could feel that difference in her bones. That the small things weren't small. The coffee made without being asked. Remembering what she'd mentioned worried her last Tuesday. Putting the phone down when she walked into the room. These weren't grand gestures, they were daily votes cast in favor of her. That disagreements weren't battles to be won. Every time he won an argument, he lost something quieter and more important. He started asking himself, do I want to be right or do I want to be close? The answer, when he was honest, was almost always the second one, that she didn't need him to be perfect. She needed him to be present, consistent, safe. A man she could be her full, complicated, contradictory self around without being assessed or corrected. One evening, about 6 months after that coffee with Marcus, Sarah laughed at something Daniel said, a real laugh, unguarded, the kind she used to have in the early years. She leaned her head against his shoulder without thinking about it. It was a small moment. Nobody would make a film about it. But Daniel felt it like a victory larger than anything he'd ever closed at work. Because he hadn't fixed anything. He just finally showed up. The solution was never about handling her. It was about understanding that she was never a problem to be solved. She was a person to be known. And knowing someone really knowing them takes a lifetime of paying attention. Start today. Like, subscribe, and click bell icon for more stories.